Hello, my name is Elena Halme and this is my latest novel called An Island Summer. I'm going to be reading you a little chapter from the book and which is set on the Åland Islands, which lie between Finland and Sweden, and they are breathtakingly beautiful holiday islands where a lot of Finns and Swedes spend their summer. This book is about three women whose relationships are at the crossroads, and I'm going to be really concentrating on Frida, who is a single mother, and the father of her baby, Daniel, has died in a tragic accident. There are complications to this relationship, however, because Daniel was actually not Frida's lover, but they had a very brief affair, and as a result of that, there is the baby girl Anne-Sophie. When Andrei, Daniel's brother, decides to come to the islands in search of finding answers what really happened with Daniel, the first person that he looks up is Frida. Now, Andrei doesn't know that Frida has a baby daughter by his brother, and he also doesn't know that, in fact, Frida was in love with Daniel's friend. So it's a very complicated situation, and Frida obviously has never met Andrei and hasn't met any of Daniel's friends or family. So we see that in the chapter that I'm going to read, we're going to see how when these two meet for the first time, Andrei and Frida. Frida has just managed to get Anne-Sophie settled for the night when there's a knock on the door. She looks at the time on her phone and hesitates in the hallway. She's not expecting anyone. It must be Isabelle, an older woman who lives in the house next door. She has been looking after her little kitten Minky while Frida was away. She's often asking to borrow something on a pretext Frida suspects. She lives on her own with her children away in Sweden, and she's lonely. But when Frida opens the door, she's surprised to find a man standing there in the twilight of the early evening. He looks familiar, and immediately Frida knows who it is. I'm Andrei Tamas. You don't know me, but you know my brother, the man says in heavily accented English. He's a little taller than Daniel, but he has the same kind eyes and the same facial features, with high cheeks and a wide mouth, although he is not a lot more muscular and handsome. Frida's stomach flips. Andrei coughs and looks down at his shoes. He hadn't been prepared for this. On Frida Anttila's Facebook page, she has spiky, rainbow-coloured hair and an angry look in her eyes. He'd been prepared for a defensive, even a bitter person. Instead, here stands a blonde, tired-looking but gorgeous young woman. She's holding a cloth of some kind in her hand, and the sleeves of her checked shirt are rolled up. I'm sorry to interrupt your evening, Andrei says. The woman continues to stare at him with those blue eyes of hers. Suddenly a small black and white cat appears at the woman's feet. It tries to sneak past him, but Andrei crouches down and picks up the creature. Where are you going? Andrei says when he sees that it's just a kitten. Thank you, Frida says. She keeps trying to escape, but she's too young to get out yet. Andrei smiles down at the kitten, who begins to purr in his arms. Frida Anttila gazes at both him and the little kitten, now comfortably held against his chest. What do you want? She whispers, almost inaudibly. Again, Andrei hesitates. He hadn't expected this reception, nor is he prepared to reveal everything yet. Can I come in? The woman nods and steps aside to let him in. As she closes the door, Andrei gently drops the kitten onto the floor. Immediately, it begins to circle his leg. She likes you, Frida says, and a smile fleetingly crosses her face. The young woman passes him in the hall and then asks him to take off his shoes. Andrei looks down at the shelf with hooks for coats and sees below it a rack with several pairs of sneakers in various colours. Next to them are smaller shoes. A child? He pulls his trainers off and sees one of his socks has a hole in it. He stretches it over the big toe and down toward the sole to hide it, but it won't stay there. Shrugging, he follows Frida to a space filled with green plants and light. The kitten flies past him. The room is vast, with a high ceiling and a large window overlooking similar wooden houses, and beyond them the sea. The sun is low, but is still light, at 8 o'clock at night. In the middle of the room is an old-fashioned sofa with a velour seat and an intricately carved wooden frame. There are 2 matching chairs opposite the sofa and a coffee table in between. In the windows and on high pedestals hang various green plants. The room is stylish, yet it's not at all altogether tidy. In one corner, toys spilled from a basket, a baby walker next to it, and different playthings are scattered here and there. A low bookshelf on the back wall is filled with children's books, while another tall one is brimming with ancient volumes. Frida is standing next to the window. The light plays with her short hair and slight frame, making her silhouette all but disappear into the scenery outside. Would you like some coffee, tea, or a drink? Andrei hesitates, but then nods. A drink would be nice, thank you. Frida walks past him and he gets a momentary scent of her. Roses? Well, I hope you enjoyed that little chapter, and you can now get the paperback book. I mean, it'll come, obviously, without this horrible not for resale banner. But it's for sale now on Amazon. I'll put the link here somewhere, if I am able. It'll be in below anyway. I'll put a link. And you can get an ebook on the 17th of June. And I hope you enjoyed that little chapter.